In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with homework number 8 and give you a few hints for how to approach this problem, and then finally I'm going to show you how to turn in the assignment electronically. So the first thing I'll do is start up the VCL, which I've already done, and now I'm using a Mac, and in the background I have the VCL running. So I'm looking at my browser in the Mac, and what I'm going to do is copy this code, Control C, or actually Command C on a Mac, Control C on a PC, and then I'm going to switch over to view my VCL session, which I've already started, and presented with the MATLAB window. And the first thing I want to do is, instead of entering in commands on the command line, I'm going to open up a file and then just tell MATLAB to execute all of the commands in the file. And the reason I do that is to make it easier for me to make small changes to my program. And you can see when I hover over this little icon here on the upper left, it says new script. So in MATLAB, a script and a program are equivalent. And so on the wiki page, I also usually use the word program instead of script. But for this purposes of this course, you can think of them as being equivalent. So I'll click that button and it'll open up an editor, and I've already copied that content from the browser into my clipboard, and now because I'm on a PC I have to do Control C as opposed to doing Command C. So I do Control V and you'll see the code has shown up there, and there's a few things to note here. Is MATLAB has added this thing called source code folding. So if you ever want to see, if you have a really, really long program and you want to fold it up, make it easier to read, you can click these little icons to see what's inside of a long for loop or what's on the outside of a long for loop. So this is the example program I'm going to run, and so now what I'm going to do is to look for the command line, which I had up previously. To do that, I'll dock this editor, and now you can see that the editor, the contents of the editor, are shown above the contents or the output from the execution of the script. And so what I've done here is I've cleared all the variables, and then I've done CLC. CLC is just a command that clears the console, CLC. And so now I can see my edit program, and I can see my command window, and I can rerun that again, and you can see the output of the program. So it executes all of these commands, and they all have semicolons at the very top where you're doing an assignment, and then at the bottom I've asked it to print out the current value of m and the current value of count. And so it looks like what this program has done is created an array with all negative ones, and at the end it's reported the value of count is 25. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is to try making different changes to this program, and then before you execute it, try to predict what the output will be. So I'm going to execute this program, and now it says count is 0 and m is now all zeros. Right? And then I can change this to be m equal to 0, and I can change this to m is equal to minus 10, and I should be able to predict that it comes out with all minus 10s and count is equal to 25. I can make a change like this. M of 5 comma 5 is equal to 1. So what this will do is, since I've cleared all the variables here, now I'm asking it to create a matrix M with 5 rows and 5 columns, and to put row 5, row column to be the value 1. I haven't said anything about the other values of the matrix, so MATLAB is going to assume that they're all zeros. And so the result after execution here should be a matrix with all zeros except for a 1 on the lower right hand side. And if I execute it, what I'll find is that count is now 24. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out why that happened. One way that you can do this is one way you can try to figure out what's going to happen or why something happened is to output more information. And so in this case, I'll print out the value of the matrix M at the very top by removing that semicolon. I'll hit execute, and then I'll look at the result. Now it's told me what M was at this point, and then it told me what M was at this point in the program. And so at the initial point, it was all zeros except for a 1 in the lower right-hand corner. And then after passing through the for loop, it has this state, and count is equal to 24. You can also do this. And in this case, it's going to print out count many, many more times each time it goes through the array. And so those are some of the things that you can do to try and figure out how the program works. Now, when you're done with the assignment, there's 3 questions on the assignment. Questions 2, 3, and 4, which will be filled in by the time that I post this video. You'll have to answer. I'm going to put a matrix here, and then you're going to have to write a program that creates that matrix. And you can use the programs up here for hints as to how to do that. And then when you're done, what I want you to do is to, assuming that this is your answer to your assignment, so I'm on a PC, so I need to do Control-C. So I'm assuming that this is my answer to number 2. I copied that into the clipboard. I'll go back to my browser, click on my account, and I'm going to create homework number 8. And so I'll create a section for homework number 8. And then this is problem number 2. And then I'm going to copy the contents here by highlighting everything and then hitting Control-C to copy. And now I'm going back onto a Mac, so I need to do Command-V to paste, and then save. And now you're going to see some kind of strange formatting, is that only part of the program is highlighted in the background with gray. And I'll show you how to make everything gray. What you do is you add PRE at the very top. This is a HTML tag, /PRE at the very bottom. And now when I hit Save Page, it will show my full program. And so what you'll do is you'll enter your answer for number 1, and then when you have an answer to number 2, you'll create this, and pre, and I'll copy this. And then when you're done, just copy the contents for your solution into this area, and then copy the contents for your solution for number 3 into this area, and then hit save. Now there's one more thing that I want to mention, is that sometimes when you're working on a program, instead of clicking the play button or the execute button to execute all of these commands as if you were typing them into the command line, you'll hit this button, which says set or clear breakpoint. You don't really need to know what it does, but what you do need to know is how to get rid of it. So if you ever have a red dot here listed on the left, what you want to do is right click it and then click the clear the breakpoint to make that disappear. And so now when you execute the program, things will go as normal. And if you ever get into a state where you're really confused about what's happening, you can always stop and then restart MATLAB.